Finding fulfillment, leveraging meaningful feedback to boost worker engagement. Abstract. This article explores how organizations can design more meaningful feedback practices to boost employee engagement. Drawing on academic literature linking feedback and engagement. Key drivers of the connection are identified, such as fulfilling psychological needs for competence and purpose. The brief then advocates shifting feedback focus from retrospective evaluations to forward-looking development centered on learning, growth opportunities, and stronger role alignment. Practical application examples across industries including healthcare, education, technology, and manufacturing demonstrate embedding feedback within organizational purpose and contextual priorities. Additional implementation strategies are offered, such as framing managers as coaches, emphasizing continual check-ins over annual reviews, rewarding continuous learning, and soliciting worker feedback. The conclusion asserts that by reframing routine feedback interactions to stimulate motivation, skills, and purpose-driven work, companies can transform this tool into a key lever for fostering enduring employee commitment, dedication, and fulfillment. As a management consultant working with organizations across many industries, one theme I consistently encounter is the struggle to maintain high levels of employee engagement. While most leaders understand the importance of engagement for productivity, retention, and the bottom line, all too often feedback practices fail to meaningfully connect with modern workers or drive real change. Through my research and client work, I have seen how feedback can fulfill its true purpose of empowering individuals and teams when it is relevant, respectful, and focused on growth. Today I share the research foundation for meaningful feedback and practical ways organizations can better leverage one of their most powerful tools to drive engagement. The research on feedback and engagement. Academic literature provides compelling evidence that quality feedback practices are strongly linked to worker engagement. Heslin and Van Wall. 2011. Schuck and Hurd, 2012. Several key findings from research help explain this connection. Feedback satisfies basic psychological needs for competence and self-determination, which are critical drivers of engagement. Deci and Ryan. 2000. When feedback fosters learning and autonomy, it fulfills these intrinsic motivators. Meaningful feedback enhances role clarity, which reduces uncertainty and increases engagement. Timms et al. 2013. Workers want to understand expectations and how their roles contribute to organizational success. Feedback perceived as useful for development rather than just evaluation builds self-efficacy and motivation to improve. Ansel et al. 2015. This taps into workers' innate drive for mastery and growth. Two-way feedback exchanges that incorporate worker insights and goals strengthen the psychological contract between managers and employees. Rooney and Gottlieb. 2007. This builds trust and empowerment. While the research clearly establishes a link, the challenge lies in translating these insights into practical strategies organizations can implement. The remainder of this brief explores how to design feedback for maximum engagement impact, focusing feedback on growth and fulfillment for feedback to truly drive engagement. It must shift from a retrospective evaluation tool to a forward-looking development discussion. 3 key shifts can help refocus feedback on growth and fulfillment. Emphasize learning over assessment. Frame feedback conversations around progress and future goals rather than past performance alone. Discuss strengths that can be leveraged further and areas for continued skill building. Incorporate worker perspectives. Invite input from the recipient on goals, challenges, and growth opportunities to foster a collaborative dialogue. Ask for their perspectives on developmental needs and priorities. Link feedback to organizational purpose. Help workers understand how their roles and work contribute to the bigger picture of serving customers, communities, or other stakeholders. Contextualize feedback within this higher meaning to boost intrinsic motivation. These changes position feedback as a fulfilling experience that nurtures learning. Autonomy and purpose, core psychological needs linked to engagement. The next section explores implementation in specific industry contexts. Applying meaningful feedback in practice to bring these research-informed strategies to life. It is helpful to consider practical applications within different organizational environments. The following examples illustrate ways feedback can be better leveraged for engagement. Healthcare, in a small medical clinic. Focus feedback for doctors and nurses on continuously improving patient care quality and outcomes. Discuss ways to enhance care delivery through skill building. Collaboration with other roles and managing workload stresses. Linking feedback to fulfilling their purpose of helping people will boost dedication. Education, for teachers, emphasize growth in competencies like student-centered learning approaches. Assessment design and instructional technology skills. Integrate student performance data and teacher self-reflections into feedback to set collaborative learning goals. Framing feedback as a tool for developing future generations will increase job satisfaction. Technology, in an agile software startup, feedback needs to support rapid innovation and adaptation. Check-ins should focus on strengthening technical abilities. Contribution to highly meaningful projects and improvement areas identified through iterative code reviews. Not annual performance reviews. This keeps pace with the fast-changing work. Manufacturing, for a unionized factory workforce, feedback tied to safety certifications. Operational excellence initiatives and continuous improvement projects will boost process understanding and optimization. Focusing on skills that directly impact quality, efficiency, and community reputation through jobs retained will drive owner pride. As these examples illustrate, situating feedback firmly within the organizational context and higher purpose can strengthen its linkage to engagement across industry sectors. The next section explores additional implementation strategies. Implementing feedback for engagement, key strategies beyond refocusing content. Organizations must also thoughtfully design feedback processes to maximize impact on engagement. Several systemic strategies can reinforce meaningful feedback. Train managers as coaches. Equip leaders with skills like active listening, questioning techniques. Providing balanced recognition and collaborative goal setting to conduct engaging feedback discussions. Emphasize continual check-ins. Move from annual reviews to ongoing, informal feedback to regularly monitor progress and stay aligned on priorities. Brief weekly check-ins maintain momentum. Use feedback technology judiciously. Tools like surveys and apps can supplement in-person discussions but not replace them. Emphasize narrative, not just ratings, to foster learning. Reward continuous learning, not just results. Adjust performance management and compensation to value skills development. Certification achievement and other meaningful growth metrics over short-term outputs alone. Solicit worker feedback too. Periodically survey how feedback is experienced and ways it could better support roles. Make continued improvements part of the process. With strategy and dedicated implementation, organizations have the power to re-engineer feedback as a true driver of fulfillment in work. The final section provides a concise conclusion. In conclusion, unleashing the power of purposeful feedback in today's shifting work environments. Maintaining workforce engagement through informal, job-specific supports like feedback becomes ever more important. By refocusing feedback conversations on growth, skills development, and stronger role alignment, organizations can transform what is often a perfunctory process into a key lever for fostering motivation, competence, and purposeful work. Through this brief, I have highlighted research demonstrating how quality feedback satisfies basic psychological needs that fuel dedication. Explored strategies to reframe content and delivery around continued learning versus past performance. And provided specific organizational examples to illustrate application. While implementation requires commitment, the potential return is a workforce truly invested in both individual contribution and company success. Because their careers and selves are meaningfully progressing through everyday interactions and guidance. Now more than ever, purposeful feedback holds the power to shape work as a place of ongoing fulfillment, if only organizations make the effort to unleash it.